Hello, folks. Tara here with a Wifey Wake Up No Makeup podcast again this morning. I wasn't actually planning on recording today, but something was really on my heart. And I think that's one of the best times to record, and particularly this topic. So it's definitely from the heart. So, as the title alludes to, I'm encouraging you and really imploring couples to let the struggles bring you together, not tear you apart. And what's so interesting, if you haven't noted, the word tear, to tear apart, is actually the same spelling as tear. I don't know. I find things like that pretty fascinating. So, something I think to tune into. Very early in our relationship, my husband and I have been married nearly 25 years now. We've been together for 25 years for sure. And very early on, he emphasized that a relationship is not 50-50. It is 100-100. So it's been said for eons, right? It's 50-50. You got to come together and you're 100%. But the thing is, if either of you are less than your own personal 100%, you're way below the 100%. You need to come in at 100-100. Anyone who has worked on a team knows that if someone is not at their best, it really drags down the team. And so you can't be just at 50-50. You can't think 50-50. You have to think, I am going in this 100-100. So as I talk about the rest of what I have to share today, keep that in mind, that it's with the premise that you are both in 100 and 100. Real quick, if you feel that your spouse is not contributing 100%, you can be the change. This is something that, not that my husband wasn't contributing 100%, but our perceptions can be off. And so at one point in our marriage, I decided I'm going to put in what I think is the 100%, actually a couple of times in our relationship. And just that turnaround can actually be the shift that needs to happen, that it may not be that they're not contributing 100%. It's just that you come into line. So I just want to start out with that premise. So the struggles, they can vary from just simply who's going to do which chores, which can become a big issue. They're a little issue and then they can grow, right? Or the struggles might be family. In-laws in particular can be a real big struggle. And how do you handle that between the two of you? So that can be a lifelong struggle throughout your marriage. And if you're not aligned on that, you can allow that to tear you apart. Another one might be kids. Now this is a huge one, right? Whether they're your biological kids and maybe you're dealing with the early years when they're little. It might be you have a blended family and the struggles that come with that. And it might be fertility issues. That is a huge struggle as well. And so again, that can be a lifelong, marriage-long issue as well. And as I'm reading these, you might be like, oh, that one's a tough one. Yep, had that one. Say something in the comments. Was this a struggle that you went through and hopefully overcame? What was the biggest thing that you as a couple have already overcome? Or maybe what was it that tore you apart for those who are divorced? Finances, of course. I think that affects just about everybody in one degree or another. Even if you're doing well financially, is deciding what to do with that money and agreeing upon that. But finances, boy, that can run the gamut. And for sure, when you're struggling financially, I think that's one of the, if not the most common reasons for divorce, but it doesn't have to separate you. We have survived many financial challenges, including bankruptcy. And I'll tell you, it has been one of our most hugest victories. Okay, I'm going to rattle through a few more. And another challenge might be even just how to love each other. You know, when you're first in love and you're just infatuated with each other, it's like the love flows, right? It's just easy. It pours out. It's like that ketchup bottle that just is, or maybe syrup. Syrup is a better example, where it just flows in the beginning. You get towards the end and it's all crystallized and it's the quintessential molasses, although molasses is different. In January, you have to work at getting it out. How to love each other can be a real struggle as well. You might go through spiritual challenges. Maybe At first it's not your spiritual life is not something significant to you, or one person develops their spiritual life and the other doesn't, or they go in different directions. That could be a challenge. Along those lines too, I think along those lines being that spirituality tends to teach about temptations in life, and they can vary from the very real coveting neighbors, for example, right? Adultery, or just simply the temptations about acquiring stuff in life and letting the things that you want to have in life get in your way of your relationship, whether it's just wanting and working so hard to get the stuff that you overlook your relationship, or maybe you get that stuff and then all of a sudden you find yourself maintaining a lifestyle that doesn't support your relationship. Another thing is health. I mean, at a certain point in life, everybody encounters some kind of health issue. And again, that can be, especially if maybe a child is going through a health struggle, that can be a huge struggle deciding between the two of you as a couple, even how to treat the child. And let alone if you're going through your own health struggles and the challenges that happen because of that. That can be a huge hurdle also. And then just overall are just disappointments in life. They happen, right? You lose your job. A vehicle breaks down at a very inconvenient time. A storm happens, a literal storm in life happens, and you have to face the consequences of that. There are so many things that happen in life that could really be the reason, or you think they're the reason for tearing you apart. But I'm really encouraging you that if you stick it through, they can be the reason that it actually brings you together even stronger. And that is, again, with the premise that you come into the relationship and you remain in the relationship at 100. And there are those times where you have to course correct and say, I think I'm going at this 100%. Where are you at this scale? And they might think that they're going at 100% also. But the reality is that you're slightly off. You're slightly in different arenas. Financially might be one of those things as well. He's investing in a new endeavor and you think that it should be going into savings. And both of you think that you're preparing for the future, but in different ways. And that's where you may be doing 100, but you have to get on the same path. So where is this coming from? Again, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Where have been the most challenging aspects in your life? And did you overcome them? Hopefully they brought you together? Or if they did separate you, a lot of you have commented in the comments about the 2020 hindsight, right after the divorce and what you realized was happening at the time. I would love to hear your that introspective hindsight now as well, because that can really help others who are struggling and maybe considering, is divorce the way to go? In very rare circumstances, do I think that divorce is the way to go, because as long as you're with a healthy, supportive person, not just supportive, but you have a healthy relationship, there's no abuse going on, is what I'm saying, is because a lot of the times what we need to do is just get to work. We really need to, again, get on the same page. And the mentality that I developed is that these things are going to happen in life anyways, right? I can go down that whole list. You're going to still have to deal with the chores. You're still going to deal with family. You're going to still have those kids, or, who knows if that fertility issue is going to continue with another person. You'll still have financial things that you have to deal with. And then if you are with another person, are they going to line up in that area of finances, but not line up in another area of life, right? How to love each other, spirituality, temptations, health, disappointments. You're going to deal with those things anyways. And you already know this person. You've already committed your life together. And so stick it out, work on it, work together, be that 100% partner. And I don't use that word lightly. I mean, it's just in a literal sense. Be that partner, like you're on a teammate, maybe is what I should say, and strive to work it out. Because I'm going to give you a really real example. First of all, my husband and I have been through chores we've worked out, okay? We've dealt with huge family issues, huge, okay? Alluded to it or mentioned it in, I think, episode 85, where I'll just put it blatantly, my family disowned me. It was horrific. We've dealt with the kids issue, raising a stepson together, and fertility issues. We've dealt with finances. I mentioned that we've gone through bankruptcy. We've dealt with how to love each other. Along the way, I learned that the way that I was loving my husband, he wasn't perceiving the love. And that isn't to blame him, like he has an issue. You have to be in tune with each other, is my point there. We've gone through the spiritual stuff, temptations, I'd say, on my end, thinking that we need this certain kind of lifestyle, and it took me away from valuing what we already have. Or, not to throw my husband under the bus, but just to give some examples, we've had stuff, a life outside of us that could distract us from each other. Health, we've definitely dealt with the health stuff. A couple of years ago, where my husband had a severely life-threatening health incident that not only was impactful at the time, but you realize when you go through something like that, the fallout effect of a health incident like that. And of course, overall, just the disappointments in life along the way. And what I would say is the goal is to get to a point where you're not afraid of the struggles. You know that they will strengthen your relationship. So you're no longer like, here's another issue coming up. I don't know if we can talk about this. I don't know if we can handle it. You are such a strong team that you know that things are going to come at you in life, because they will. You've lived enough life probably at that point. And instead, you come together and you go, we can handle this. You don't even have to say that, because you've been together long enough and been through enough shite that you just know that you can handle it, and it's not even a second thought. So this episode is inspired by and dedicated to our cat. And you might be thinking, oh, this is so classic. In a way, I'll just name it, a suburban white woman saying, I'm dedicating this to my animal. But I think so many of us are close to our animals these days, and they play a very special role. And today we will be euthanizing our kitty that we've had for many years. And it's not something that'll tear us apart. Not that that's something that would normally tear people apart, but I'm saying because we've been through all these prior issues, we know how to be there for one another. And when I say the goal is to be able to go into life and not be afraid of the struggles, that they will strengthen you, they truly will. And I really just hope for couples that they can get there, that when you're going through the toughest times in your life, and we've had struggles happening, those big struggles that I name happening at the same time, you're going to suffer through them no matter what. And you have to decide, are you going to do that with your arms locked together, or are you going to turn around about face this way and walk apart and deal with it on your own? And I think when you put it into real severe terms like that, for me at least, it woke me up. And I decided what I was going to change, and I'm very grateful that I did. So I really hope this message hits home for you, especially if you are going through difficult times, and to decide to be that 100%. And if you feel that you are already, just to have an adult conversation, like I always say, and get on the same page. Make sure you're on the same page. And if you're not, then you're not. But at least you have made that effort that you're going to be 100% in. You've given it. You have to give it, depending on the severity of the issue, you have to give it several months. And that several months is not giving them the chance. It's making sure that you have been accountable for several months before making any drastic changes. So yes, I'm a little bit more hard-hitting today. It feels like it's obviously an emotional day, but it's also such an important topic, because what you go through can break you or can really help you to soar in your relationship. And I want so many more couples to soar. Our world would be so much better if we had couples who were locking arms more than fighting each other. And in so many cases, it's really a choice of making your own choice of what direction you're going to go and what you're going to contribute to the situation. So any of the hard hits are meant out of love. Okay. And again, I would love to hear from you. What have been your most challenging moments? What have you overcome? What broke you apart? What is your hindsight? What you have to say in the comments could really help someone else. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.